Okay, so it is really windy, so hopefully the wind noise isn't terrible, but so I'll do my best to keep the camera out of the wind. But today I'm going to be installing some DO8 piping I got from another car I have, and I don't have the piping on my car, but I do have an intercooler from ETS, so just no piping. And I also got the DO8. I also have another DO8 a cold air intake setup, but not sure what one I like better. I like this one just because it could fit the bigger. This is the genuine Saab one, and it could fit the bigger filter. I'm gonna have it powder coated because I just painted it to see how I liked it. But yeah, so I'm gonna be installing the piping. Don't mind the turbo missing. I'm actually trying out a different one I'm building on it, so I'll be installing that. And I'm also gonna be removing the secondary air injection, which is this piece, and it just heats up the catalytic converter when you first start up for emissions. So we're going to be deleting that. I already have it turned off for my tuner, and which is Gabe at Pedro's Performance. I'll put a link in the description, but yeah, he already turned it off for me, so I won't have any codes, and I just gotta get the equipment out of the way so it's not taking up all the room. And the pump itself is actually down there, so it's kind of a hassle to get to, but I'll show you guys how. And the piping is kind of a hassle as well, but it's also not terrible. So first thing we need to do is remove the bumper, and we have some 7mm, I believe 7 or 8, but I believe they're 7s on the side and then out on the bottom. And then we also have a clip here, clip there, and I think these are T25s or T30s, but like I said, I'll go grab everything and double check. And so yeah, just remove the bumper, and so I'm going to start with that. So both sides are off. Now we need to go underneath, which hopefully your car's not super low, and we'll have, I believe, one screw right here. Take that out, and we'll have the same one over there. So just make sure, I believe there's a couple, but I must be missing some, so one there, and do your ones over there. There should be a couple in the back too, but if you scrape a lot, yeah, you'll see that it's very easy to break them off. So to remove these, you push down on the middle part, and then you should just be able to pull it up. I don't think I've ever had the bumper off this car, so this will be the first time. I have on many other Saabs. And then make sure you put these somewhere where you don't lose anything, which I'm going to put mine over here. And then we need to remove these, which is, let's see, there's a T40, T30, these are a T30. So I'm gonna make this fast so I don't waste my time removing the bumper. Okay, now with all that off, we should be able to just come over here and kind of lift up on this while you pull out like that. It's better with two people, but I'm using my foot to help hold it up underneath, just like that. Okay, so now you'll have a plug, this plug right here that needs it disconnected, and you'll need to disconnect your line for your headlight washers, which is right here. So yeah, you'll probably lose some fluid in this, but yeah, that needs disconnected to remove the bumper completely. So I'm gonna set the camera down, and hopefully I could get it removed. So here you can see the intercooler. I have I believe it's called an ETS, and then we have our 7mm clamp right there. And there should be a 10 millimeter back there, but I'm missing it. I didn't install the intercooler, it was on it when I bought the car. And then over here, should be the same way. 7 millimeter up. And then we should have a 10 millimeter down below here. So I'm gonna take that piping off, I think. Or I might just start with the secondary air injection. And to do, so let's, with the bumper off, let's start with the secondary air injection, which is pretty easy. So we're gonna disconnect this hose, which will be routed to the pump down there. And then we'll have this hose. Be careful with this line right here, because everything's super brittle on these. And there's, you typically, I didn't do this either, this was like it when I bought the car, but typically there's a thing that you squeeze right here and pull it out. But like I said, mine's gone because someone else broke it working on it. Okay, so that's out. And we'll have to remove that later. That goes to the exhaust manifold. Now look under the car to the pump. And I believe there's like 3 Torx on it. Don't mind the oily mess and the antifreeze. Okay, so Torx there. You have a Torx up there, I know, for the bracket. And they are kind of a pain to get to, but we'll start with that one, which I'll go grab the right size, but I think it's a T40. Okay, so we're gonna start by removing this stuff up here just so it's out of the way when we go to remove the pump. And so you see this hose, it's just connected down there on the pump itself. But what we need to do is unplug the sensor, which is right there. So hopefully you guys can see that. I just got the sensor unplugged. Now we just gotta get it off this bottom plug. Okay, so I hope that wasn't too terrible of a video. But so to remove this, you squeeze these in right here. It's hard to get your hands down there, so I had a screw flat blade with a bend on it to help pull this back up at the end. And so that's how, this is your tube that sucks in the that pushes out the air into your exhaust manifolds. And so one piece is out of the way. Now let's get the rest. Okay, so next what we can do is we can get rid of this piece, which goes to your manifold. Unfortunately, I am waiting on a bracket that goes down to the manifold. I don't know if you guys could see that. Right there. So on a 06 and below, so I think it's just 06, 07, I could be wrong. It has one of these on the front and one on the back. So you need 2 plates. If you have an 08 and up, you only have one on the front right here. So it's much better, much easier. So we'll have to remove this piece, and that has a 10 millimeter holding it in on each side. 10 or 13s, I think they're 13s. And then we have our 10 millimeter here. And then we have, underneath this, we have, I believe 10s, but I guess we'll find out here in a minute. So that is out of the way. Now we could remove this pipe right here, and this is the pipe where it sucks in the fresh air. So you're also gonna need something to block this. And I know there's plenty of stuff out there. You could just put a filter on it, or you could just put, you know, a cap over it and make sure it's sealed. But the same way to remove that, by squeezing the ends together. Same thing. So on this, same way, just squeeze this together. Kind of pain in the butt down there, but squeeze it together like that, and you get that out. So those are the only components that are running that we need to remove from the pump itself. Now we'll just have to get the bolts out of it, which is going to be a bit tricky. Not tricky, but yeah, they're just kind of a pain. We could actually just remove the bolt on the front, since and then remove the bracket later, which I'm thinking about doing, and I believe those are 10 millimeters. So let me go grab that. Okay, so there you can see the second bolt, and actually I think there's only two, but yeah, there's the second one right there. It's hard to do it one-handed, but okay, so there you can see the secondary air injection, and it is all loose, but now we gotta disconnect that one clip that holds that hose on, and we need to unplug the unit. Okay, so this is the line that we had to disconnect, and then this has a clip around it, this hose right here that's connected, and then there's one other line under there. I know it's hard to see, so I apologize, but that's all it is. And then let's come here underneath. We'll have to wiggle this thing out. Okay, so let me give you a better description. So this hose was hanging on. You want to remove that, just unclips. Okay, so the problem was this hose was hanging on there, that was holding it on. Unclip it like that. And then this piece right here, there's a cable going on there, just unclip that. Here are your two hose pieces that you have to remove that go up to the intake and the exhaust manifold. There's that bolt and that bolt. And that's it. So that's the pump itself. So we got that hardware removed. Now the only thing that's left to remove is this hardware. And that is not going to be a huge problem either. So we'll start with this 10 that's right there. So I can't remember if everyone can get to this easily. You may have to remove your wastegate, but let's get that removed. Okay, so to take that off, it's actually a lot bigger pain than I realized, but nothing's impossible. So we're gonna have to take off the intake manifold. I'm sure there's other ways and easier ways, maybe, but for sure gonna have to take off the upper portion of the intake manifold to get to those bolts. And yeah, so to do that, there's 6 13s right here, and then there we have a few brackets that we have to take off. So we got a bracket here, these brackets, got one back there, vacuum lines, and take off this intake piece, as well as take off this coolant line. So I'm going to start doing that. Okay, we finally have this stupid thing off. Yay. Okay, so now let's get this thing back together. So yeah, replace your gaskets if you haven't ever since you're doing this, and I'm glad that I'm doing this so you guys can see what you're getting yourself into, what you may need before you start. So also check your vacuum lines. There's a bunch of stuff to do while you're back here, but let's get this thing back together and get this piping on. Hello everyone, so we are going to be finishing this secondary air injection delete today. I got this new plate from a guy on the Facebook group named Camille, and I also purchased some solid subframe bushing from him. So I'll be getting these on and doing a review. These there's 4 of them on your subframe down there, 1 in each corner, and stock they're just this rubber. Let's see if I can get a picture. Right back there, they're just rubber and they'll flex and move, and these will just make it a lot more solid, help with the nosedive when you brake, and should be a huge improvement. So I actually have a spare subframe, so I'm gonna get it powder coated and then get these pressed in, and we'll swap the subframe on this. It'll be a perfect time because I replaced the CV axles, so do it all at once. But to finish up this, we have to put this plate on the exhaust port right down there. And so I left my stock bolts in there, so I'm going to remove them. And he did send me new bolts, and I'll leave his contact information down at the bottom and his email, so you guys can get a hold of him. Okay, well, that plate is on, and that will conclude this secondary air injection delete video. I'm still waiting for the turbo to get done getting powder coated, so hopefully that hurries up because I want to get this thing running again. Got the intercooler piping all done. You can see the intercooler down there, and so yeah, next we'll get the turbo back on, go for a drive, and then we'll throw these on and see how they do. So I gotta clean up my old subframe, and then I'll get these pressed in, and I'll show you guys the whole install on these bad boys. So thanks for watching. Shout out to Camille. I'll link his parts down in the description. That plate fit perfectly. Also came with new bolts, so that's super nice. And if you have any questions, just comment down below. But yeah, I'll see you guys all in the next video.